Now to education. Arizona State University President Michael Crow has been credited with creating a new model for the American university. He sits down with Deseret News editor Paul Edwards to discuss the future of higher education and why billionaire Bill Gates is keeping a close eye on his school.
There's a famous college dropout, Bill Gates, who is one of the geniuses that you referred to,
Sure.
probably, who I understand recently called you up and was interested in sitting down with you because he felt that what was happening at this new American university at ASU was the most important and innovative change happening in American higher education. Can you tell us about the visit that you had with him?
We had a surprise visit with Bill Gates, and he wanted to come by to see what we were up to. How were we innovating? Not only how were we using new technology to enhance educational outcomes, which we're doing, but how were we changing the structure and the design of the institution to change learning outcomes, to change, how do you get more minority students and women students into science, technology, engineering, and math disciplines, something that we've been able to do significantly. How do you make all of this happen? And so we sat and talked about cultural change, which is what we've been working on at ASU, technological injection, which is something that we've been relying on, and we've also been focused on the whole re-engineering of disciplines. So we've created a number of transdisciplinary schools. We've created whole new ways of organizing knowledge, and that's resulted in differentiated outcomes. And so Bill Gates was interested in seeing all of that.
Now, with all the change that you've experienced at ASU over the last 12 years, what do you see as the challenges looking ahead for your institution and for higher education generally in the United States?
You know, so for ASU looking ahead over the next few years, what we see is we've got to prove beyond every doubter's doubt that you can learn in enhanced ways with technological assistance. So the enhancement of the faculty with technology can produce actually a better learning outcome than just the faculty by themselves. Human nature doubts that. Most professors and teachers doubt that. We know that it's true. We have to prove it. And then for higher education in general, our problem is going to be is that most of our institutions of higher education are like the old-fashioned trains. They're on metal tracks with metal wheels following each other, with their entire objective in life being beating the person in front of them, beating the train in front of them. That's a terrible, terrible system. We need to break those tracks, move the universities and the colleges off the tracks, empower them to innovate, empower them to adjust, quit thinking that they're great because of who they let in and who they don't let in, measure them based on who they produce. And this is a whole revolution in higher education that needs to take place, and that's what needs to be happening, and it's going to be very difficult.
These are big ideas you're talking about. What would you say to a family that is looking ahead a few years down the line about where a son or daughter might be going to college? What are the kinds of questions they should be asking in order to get the best higher education for a son or daughter?
So what a family needs to look at when they're thinking about where to go to college is where is the learning environment sufficiently flexible to attach to their child? Every child learns differently. They need to find a learning environment which is attachable to their child. From that, then, they need to think about, within that context, where is that learning environment going to produce not an engineer or an artist, a scientist or a philosopher, but where is it going to produce a master learner? If the school's not talking about, we produce master learners, we produce people that can learn anything, we produce people that can adapt anything, then they're looking at an institution that's too narrow in its focus. And so they need to be looking at those kinds of things to find the right place for their child. And let me say also, somewhat controversially, is that the major, the subject area that the student focuses on.
Specialization.
Yeah, not a big area of focus, not a big area of worry. Allow the child, allow the new college or university student to pick that thing that is the most exciting to them, that makes them smile, that brings them joy, that allows them to be empowered as a learner. All other things will follow that.
President Crow, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Paul Edwards, editor of the Deseret News. Turning now to an issue affecting public schools. A study by the nonprofit group School Leaders Network shows 1/4 of school principals leave their jobs every year. Half of new principals quit during their 3rd year, and the highest principal turnover is in high-poverty schools. This constant churning hamstrings schools trying to improve as new leaders never settle in and make lasting changes. You can read much more about this issue and the possible solutions in depth at national.deseretnews.com. Next, we all feel a little more gratitude in our hearts this time of year. But did you know there's science behind being happy and having a grateful heart? We'll take a look at what characteristics and habits seem to create happier people when the Deseret News National Edition continues.